welcome. This is going to be a continuation of our previous topic, which is the Polestar 2, not a review, right? And when I say not a review, that's because it's not like a proper review like you will see from Car and Driver or those guys that do car reviews. And so this is a continuation of the original video that was shot, that was posted, that talked about. So in that video, I basically introduced the car and we talked about, for the most part, primarily your driver's view, which is the instrument cluster and the screen, right? And so I'm going to put a link up here for you to somewhere here or there to watch that if you have not seen that. And also, if you have not seen the original not a review that I did, which was of a Mercedes-Benz EQS 450, there's also be a link in here or in the description for you to be able to go check that out. And again, if you're not subscribed, don't forget to hit subscribe, because there's going to be one more chapter of this not a review that is going to be posted. So, and then there'll be one compiled video that will talk about everything, instead of, you know, just one long video that covers all the topics together. So and again too, like in the previous video, as I mentioned, I've got some notes on screens behind me, so if you see me looking or moving my hands this way or over there, that's because I'm trying to make sure I reference my notes and I'm staying on track. So let's get into today's topic, which is more about what are the features. So we're talking about the features and more about the interior of the car today. So features, first there's below the screen you have a wireless charging pad for your phone, so you can put your phone in there and you get a wireless charging pad. This is just for one phone. I know in your Teslas you get two options. This is just for one phone, but right next to that you've got two USB-C ports. One port seems to be data enabled, so both of them will do power, but only one is data enabled. So if you're trying to play music or something, you gotta make sure you're plugging to the right one. Be towards you more, you have your hazard light button and then your media control button, which has a knob around it for volume, and then your play pause button in the middle that you can press. And then right next to that you've got your front and rear defroster buttons, and there's nothing too fancy about them. There's some type of like a touch capacitive buttons, but that's about it for that front center console controls. Then we go from there to what I'm gonna say is the first big, and I'll say for me probably the biggest miss, which we'll talk about it some more a little bit when I get to the hits and misses section, probably in the next video. But a preview of the miss here is cup holders. You get one cup holder. Well, not quite. You do get two, but the second cup holder is hidden under the center armrest. So you have to open up the armrest to get to the second cup holder. And there's a couple huge flaws with these cup holders, and I said we'll talk about them when we get into that section, but just look out for that video when it comes out. It's a huge problem. And then going back to what's the features, you've got your gear selector, which I kind of like. It's like a little small hollow knob, and there's a little accent light in the middle with the Polestar logo that lights up, which I think is just pretty neat. Some of the stuff looks really cool at night, and so it's nice to see some of those features in there. It looks cute or whatever. And then you've got, so with the gear, you've got a button for park, and then you pull two clicks towards you for drive. You push two clicks away for reverse, and then if you do one click, you go to neutral. So if you push two clicks to drive, one click push gets into neutral, two clicks takes into reverse, and of course, like I said, your button for park. Now when you're in reverse, the car makes a nice soft beeping sound in addition to a hum that you hear whenever the car is in gear. So I'm going to pause a little bit here, and I'm going to like flip to the video so you can hear what it sounds like when the car is in reverse. So yeah, I thought that was just a nice nice soft beep you get there. Just something else that lets you know that the car is backing up. And of course, you've got your camera view when you're in reverse. You also have the option of the 360-degree view, as I mentioned in the first video. Of course, with the camera views too, you can choose which camera you want to see, right? So front, rear, or side. And the side cameras are good, especially when you're parking next to curbs, right? You can basically turn those cameras and be able to see how aligned or how close you are to a curb. So again, Tesla, I'm sure this is like one of the top most requested feature. It would be nice if you can get that in there. And so I do find though, like the placement of the gear in relation to the screen, it's a little bit interesting, because maybe it's just the way I was placing my hands, but my hand, the way I was walking the screen, my hand here kept hitting the gear, and at one point I was doing so much thinking I was in park, I was doing it and actually pushed the gear into like reverse. And so again, maybe it's just me, and it's probably something you would get used to having a car after some time. But you know, in that time that I had it, it was something I had to be mindful of, that when I'm walking the screen, making sure that my hands was not hitting the gear. You do have wood trim accents in the center console around, which I like. It's a dark wood, and I think it looks cool. I like wood trims in cars anyway, so I just like that there was that that feature in there. So that's about it on the feature side. Again, you know, for the most part, there's some stuff too that we talked about in the first video when it comes to some lights and some screen features, but in terms of like your physical features around you, that's what you have in there. So now let's go talk about some interior features. So as I mentioned, the seats are comfortable, they're nice. You've got lumbar support and a few other things that we'll talk about in a little bit here. The seat material, it's made up of some type of polyurethane or urethane, whatever that word is. It's some type of rubbery type material. You've got textile also, so like in some of the side stuff, it's actually like textile. And then you've got the rubbery type material. And then you also have like some trims in there that's like suede or Alcantara type fabric on it. It's just interesting, like 3 different materials in one. Like I said, you've got lumbar controls for both the passenger, so you've got your regular 8-way seats, so front, back, sit back. You've got lumbar controls for both passenger and driver. You also have seat extenders. The both front seats have manual seat extenders, which is nice for, you know, folks like me with long legs and may need more support. As I mentioned, you know, this is a rental from Enterprise, so pardon the dirt in there. I didn't realize it was done until I pulled that out. But something else that I think is pretty cool here are the seat belts. The seatbelt colors, they were pretty nice. I like the contrast where it's not like your typical dark or black or gray. This was like gold or, you know, yellow. And I like the contrast. It's, you know, got this racing type look with it. Now, so one thing to talk about here, you know, space is not quite so much. There's enough to fit an adult in front, but with somebody with long legs sitting in front and somebody, you know, a full adult in the back too, it could be a bit of a tight fit in there, but like I said, not too bad. The middle seat though is something else entirely. There's a hump in the middle seat that is typically for, like, you know, transfer case type thing, but in this case it's right there in the middle of the rear seat. I don't know why there would be one in this car. It's an EV, and even if it's all-wheel drive, I still don't understand why, you know, there's a hump in there. But yeah, beside that, also the middle seat is very close to the center console. Like there's literally like a hand span length between the seats and the center console. And so, I mean, I don't know who that will fit. It's probably more for kids in car seats or in baby carriers. I don't need to put their legs down. But that hump just can't be ignored. But besides the hump, you get 2 USB-C ports in the back also. You also get rear seat heater controls. So the rear seats are heated. Of course, the fronts are heated also. So you get the rear seat heater controls over there also. While we're on the topic of the rear seat, let's talk about the rear window. If you thought the rear view out of the Model Y rear window was small. This is tiny. It's tiny. The roof sits low in the back, right? And with the headrest, also the headboard in the back, it's also pretty wide. And what ends up happening there is you get a very tiny window in the back. Doesn't look tiny looking at it from outside, but on the inside it looks pretty small. And of course, over time you'll get used to that view, but I feel that that's something that it can be improved, or maybe not, since the Polestar 4 that was just announced, it's supposedly coming with no rear window, and what you're going to have is a camera view that you enable through your rearview mirror. So that's going to be interesting. So I guess in that case, a tiny window probably is, better than nothing at all. But yeah, the roof is nice. It's one continuous glass roof from front to back, like you have in the Model, like your Teslas. It's not quite as big as the Model Y. The headboard and stuff in there, they're pretty thick, so you don't have as big of a space, but it's still pretty big. And also it doesn't feel as thick like in the Model Y. I believe it's triple laminated glass. This doesn't feel as thick as the Tesla glass. Also, it's not as dark as the Tesla roof. The Tesla roof comes with a lot more darker hue to them than this. Just seems to be a lot more clear. And some other features you have in the driver's door pocket side is the memory seats. You have 2 memory seat options that you can choose, so you can save 2 profiles in there. And by the way, ignore my crusty feet in the shots in here. You also have door pockets that are not deep. I think, like I said, you should see the video, they're not deep at all, so I don't know how much you can put in there. You got a little small slot in the door for handles, and your usual dot buttons for lock, unlock, and window controls. We're going to talk about storage space in the next video that I'm going to put together, but while we're looking in here, let's talk about this old school method of opening the trunk. You have a lever that you have to pull in the bottom close to the pedals, right? Like you used to have to do for the, for regular cars. And of course, when you pull that and you open the front, you get a message on the screen about the front being open, and you see that showing up in your instrument cluster. Of course, the rear hatch also, you open that with a button on the panel in front of you, right next to the panel brightness control. And for the rear hatch, you have to press the button down for the trunk to open. You can't just press and let go. You have to hold it down for that to open up. But the rear hatch or trunk is powered, so that's good. You don't have to go pull that up manually. One more feature I want to touch on, which is on the outside, is the brakes. The brakes on this car is nice. It comes with drilled brake rotors and Brembo calipers, so it looks very performance. It's nice. I also noticed one thing, that the caliper covers is matching the seat belts on the inside, so that's a nice touch over there. When it comes to the features and interior, high level in this not official review, that's basically what you have in there. Again, my biggest gripe, my 2 biggest gripes so far with this is the cup holders, again, which we'll talk about some more in the hits and misses, and the rear seats with the hump and the middle space just being so tight. But besides that, materials wise, pretty nice finish all through. Quality is there. With that, I'm going to conclude this section of the not a review, right? And then there will be one more video that I'm going to do to wrap up everything that will cover the storage. So we're going to go in depth into the front, the trunk, and even the interior storage. We're going to talk about the charging, the driving experience, and then we'll probably just talk about the hits and misses too in that video. So when I say hits, basically what are the things that they did really good in this car? Misses, obviously, what did they miss? with this car. So again, I hope this has been nice and just informative for you, just seeing what is going on with this EV. So don't forget to subscribe so you can be aware when and of course turn on the notification bell so you can be aware when the next chapter of this saga is released. And then also when it is all done, I'm going to have one video that compiles all these videos together into one. So if you want to watch them all one stretch, you'll have that option also. But yes, so again, thanks for being here. I appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next one.